What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Raw Truth. It is myself and Jane today on the podcast. Sammy is not with us. So we thought that it would be really fun because both of us are in prep right now to kind of give you guys a little prep update on both of our preps because that's something that we wanted to go through. But I guess before we kind of get into that, like, how's your week been? Like, what have you been up to? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, right? Okay, week has been good. I am not gonna lie, I have been slammed. Biz is good. Training is good. And so I've just really been focused on all of that. I've got some family fun stuff coming up this weekend. So excited for that. I've got a niece here in Chicago. So we're gonna do a little baking sesh of
Oh, fun.
tomorrow, but but it's always fun. Always fun. So yeah, I don't think I'm trying to think over the past week. Nothing too crazy. It's smooth sailing, just helping all the people that I can.
Yeah, good. I've been the same. I've been also slammed this week with business. Like, I don't know where everyone's coming from, but like it's awesome. I love it. Signed
Yes.
on a few people. I got like 3 more competitors this week, which is awesome. Super excited about that. All figure girls too. So like
Hey.
that's exciting. So I do coach more than figure though. Just saying people.
Yes.
um,
Take care
but
of your
then
health.
what's that?
Please take care of any competitor. Take care of your health. You need an off-season coach too.
Yes, off season for sure. Um, and then last weekend I was in Denver, visiting some friends and training arm thrust. Like it was so nice. Like I just loved being there. Like as soon as I got off the plane, it was just like a like relief. Like felt so good. And like even though I'm on prep, like we just like hung out, did stuff. Like I had a free or refeed weekend that weekend too. Um, because I was definitely feeling it. So now I'm like 4 weeks out. So and you are 2 weeks out from a photo shoot and then getting back on stage in
So
December.
I'm probably 14 weeks out from competing. So December 2nd, I'm hopping
Okay.
back up on stage.
And this is gonna be for all the listeners like who don't know the backstory, Jane, like this is gonna be your first time in NPC, correct?
Yeah, so a little bit of background. If you go back to episode 1, you'll hear my story. But I was a natural competitor for like a 5 like solid years, and I really went hard to get my pro card in 2 different natural organizations. And at that point, took a pause because I just knew that my body wasn't reversing well, and each time I was getting on stage, I wasn't bringing a more competitive package, even against myself. Like something was off. And so then I started this. It will be 3 years. By the time I get back on stage, it'll be 3 full years that I have competed. And so I've made the decision. For people who know, I did start an HRT journey about 2 years ago, and so I cannot compete naturally anymore. And so I've made the decision that I want to get back up on stage, and I'm joining the NPC gang. So I'm excited. I've always wanted to compete NPC, and kind of towards that end of those 5 years where I had started competing, my body just wasn't responding. And so this is a really great, exciting challenge for me. I got to learn some new posing and all of that. But I'm just really excited to get back up and bring a better package than where I was 3 years ago.
Heck yeah. So one thing that I know, because I competed naturally too when I first started, but like it was a little bit easier for me to transition to NPC because in my mind I was like, oh, well, I got my pro card like after my second show, and I was like coaching myself. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was like, well, I want to go to something that's more challenging. So
Yeah.
for me, it was really easy because I was like, well, like I'm just gonna go to NPC because I can compete against people who are on drugs, but I'm not going to be on drugs. I'm on drugs now, but that's beside the point. So what I'm trying to get at is that sometimes people are like really nervous about switching or like the stereotypes with like NPC or think you have to go to NPC. So when you made the decision to go on HRT, Jane, did you have those thoughts like run through your head at all or about like oh no, like am I going to be looked down upon from like the natural bodybuilding community at all or anything like that?
Yeah. And so when I decided to go on HRT, I'm on testosterone and progesterone. And, you know, HRT is to replace your hormones. So, the point of HRT is not to go above and beyond. Like I actually needed it because I was producing no testosterone. But yeah, those thoughts definitely ran through my head. And at that time, even 3 years ago, there were certain natural organizations where it was still okay to be on HRT because it is replacement. And when so that would have been fine. But at this point, you can't, and I don't think in any natural league you can compete with HRT. Maybe if you have your prescriptions and stuff in order, but I don't think so.
I
And
don't
so
think you
anyway,
can.
at that time, I really I struggled with it. And I'll tell you, I struggled with it thinking, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can compete NPC. I'll get to that in a second because I'm doing it. And I was thinking, oh my God, if I go on HRT, I can never compete again. And that is so false. And that's like such a like fear tactic that your mind plays on you, but I think it's real. And I think you can push the limits. Like if you want to do something, you can do it. It doesn't mean that it's always easy, but yeah, I definitely had those thoughts, and it was a challenge because I didn't know if I wanted to go on HRT or not because of that. And that is not a good reason to not take care of your body.
Right, right. Because I feel like, HRT in itself is just to help your body be healthy because your body doesn't produce those hormones and your body needs it. So if it just means the difference between like, okay, well, I can't compete this organization versus this one, like, what's the big deal if you're healthy and if you feel good, versus like the 5 minutes that you're on stage, like who cares if it's like an NPC or federation or not, And if I feel like too, if people are gonna like talk down on it because you're on HRT, like it's pretty shitty, to be honest, to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're taking care of your body, like that's bad. Like,
And I think, that's a whole conversation that we could get into, but it's a reason why
yeah,
I'm very vulnerable on my social media and I talk about taking testosterone because it is looked down upon still a lot in just society.
mm-hmm.
And testosterone replacement therapy is not just steroids to get jacked. Like clearly,
Right.
because I'm just like some huge jacked female. I'm
We're
still
still in the bikini division over here.
working hard to get some glutes. So yeah, so HRT should not be looked down upon. I do think it should be really seriously considered if it's a route that you need or want to go.
Yeah.
But you would obviously get in the care of the right practitioner. I have a coach, and we know Jason Theobald's my coach, and he kind of helps along with that as well. So I'm very thankful for that journey and path, and allopathic medicine in that sense, because it has changed. It's changed a lot for me internally. And I now, well, we'll get into the past 3 years, what you've been doing, what I've been doing, or 2 years, to grow. But I have grown so much solid muscle because I took care of my body
Yep.
internally and I took a break. And that was hard, but I'm going to tell you, kind of once you get into that journey of like the off season being longer, you're like, oh,
Dude,
I'm okay with it.
yes. This last off season, I have to say I loved it. Like I have never felt so comfortable, like especially like with eating food and like just being comfortable with going out to eat. Like
Yeah.
previously, like I was always so worried about like, oh well, is it Saturday? Like, can I like have this free meal? Or like, okay, I have to be like conservative, or like I would be like, okay, it's Saturday. I need to like eat as much as I possibly can because I'm not going to get another free meal. And I would feel like that restriction. And this last off season, I really just like let it go. And not in a sense of like just being like, oh, I'm just gonna like eat whatever the fuck I want, but just like if it was like the middle of the week and it was a friend's birthday and they were like, let's go to dinner, I'd be like, all right, cool. And then I would have something like I would have like a chicken sandwich or something like that. And like I just really don't really like pick burgers or something anymore. Like anything like really greasy because I know how it's gonna make me feel. And I just like don't want to feel like ass. So
Yeah.
like now I would rather have like a grilled fish fillet or like a steak or sushi or something like that, just because it just makes me feel better all in all. Like I love pizza, but I don't eat it like once or twice a year. And every time I do, I'm like, I gotta make it worth it because it's gonna like not feel great the next day. But I guess like what I'm trying to say is like taking this off season, like I was at my heaviest weight I've ever been, but it was the best I've ever felt. Um,
Yeah.
Confidence wise, like food wise, things like that. And it's definitely paid off.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So you're 4 weeks out from your pro debut, which is exciting.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Well, today I kind of feel like hairy butthole. We'll just say that. Um, that's pretty normal though. We started to incorporate like protein veggie days. So I just have one protein veggie day. And I did that yesterday. And then today I had to train quads and I was like, oof, that was bad timing. But it just so happened to be the timing that it was. It's fine. I'll be all right. But we did decrease my HIIT training down to just 2 days of 5 rounds. So it's not that bad. Um, I'm at like under 100 grams of carbs on the rest of my days too. So it's food is low, and this is the point where it has to get low. Like, I know we talk a lot about like being healthy and doing things the healthiest way and like, limiting cortisol as much as possible. But when it comes to stuff like this, like you get to points where it is not healthy. And it
Yeah.
is, I will 100% say it is not healthy to be eating where I'm eating right now for a long period of time, but I have 4 weeks left. So
I think that's such a good point, Kayla, because yes, we preach it all the time on the functional side of things, like and healing people and body internally and looking at health markers. But when you're in prep, it's different. And the reason that your body's responding so well is because you did take care of it in an off
yep.
season and in a long off season. And so no, you can't go on protein veggie days. I mean, once a week's not horrible, but you can't do that for life. And what happens coming out of competing, I know you've dealt with it, Sammy's dealt with it, and I have too, is that you think, oh, I got so lean on this tactic that this is how I'm always supposed to eat.
Yeah.
And that's where people get into trouble, because that is not how it's supposed to be. And I don't know many people except a few genetic freaks that stay that lean year round.
Yeah, no, I mean, even just being like part of it of the fatigue is because I have low food and I'm doing lots of cardio. But the other part of it is when you get super lean, like, because for figure, if you guys don't know this, like figure, we have to get really, really lean, like single digit body fat percentage. And I'm there. Like I can feel it. Like my limbs are like heavy now. Like it just like I feel flat. Like I can feel it. It's like it's hard to describe the feeling, but you're just like, no matter what you do, like I get a refeed day tomorrow, but it's still gonna be like I'm still gonna feel tired. It is what it is. Because just being super lean, your body just like it just hurts. But you just have to kind of like keep going and keep focusing on the end result. And I'm just like right now I'm like more excited than anything just because it's like home stretch kind of.
Yeah. Wait, let's talk about your cardio. I want to talk about mine too, because I think our strategy here is definitely different than something that I have experienced prior in preps. And I think it's important for people to hear, because I think there's different strategies, by the way. Like that there's all different types of ways to do what we're doing and to get lean for stage. But tell us a little bit about your cardio.
So I have right now, we just bumped it to 55 minutes from 45, 7 days a week fasted. So I do it at like 120 beats per minute heart rate. So we monitor it by heart rate. Typically I like to do the stairs because when I do the treadmill, my calves just get so tight and it just hurts so badly. And then 3 days of the week, I have 30 minutes of just like walking in the afternoon. So nothing too crazy. And then I have 2 days of 5 rounds of HIIT. So 20 seconds on, 40 seconds rest, plus 35 minutes post walking. So basically 5 days of the week, I do cardio twice. 2 days of the week, I just do fasted cardio. So it's not terrible. I mean, it could be worse. Like I'm not doing 2 hours of cardio a day, but there's enough there.
So I'm similar to you. My cardio is 7 times a week, 45 minutes, list in the morning, so fasted list, and then after training 5 days a week. So I am strength training 5 days a week right now. I hit 40 minutes on the Stairmaster, heart rate 120.
Mhm.
But we did pull pretty quickly. I started with some hit and we pulled that pretty quickly. And it seems that my body's responding better to just that list. I mean, 120 is almost miss, but like list.
Yeah, mine will sometimes go up. Like I keep it 120 to 140 for fasted cardio, just because on the stairs it can be easy for it to like go up higher. So like I just sweat more. Like it is what it is. But I'm only training 4 days a week still. So Jason only has me at 4 days because this is where we differ because I am very cortisol driven and I train like heavy and hard as fuck when I train.
Yes.
So my body just like I can train that hard, but my body doesn't recover quite as well. And when my cortisol goes up that high, my progesterone just like drops, which I lose my period during prep anyways. But this time I kept it up until about 6 weeks out or so.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. So I shouldn't like not have it for too long. I'm pretty confident I'll get it back pretty quickly to post prep. But yeah, that's pretty normal for me to lose it. But that's just the risk that I take. So
And then what are you doing for your progesterone right now?
nothing.
I think aren't you taking chaseberry or no?
Oh yeah, I take chaseberry.
I was like, I
I
swear.
thought you meant like HRT. I'm like, I don't take HRT, man.
No. So I think something that's important going through preps is like supporting your hormones as best as you can,
Yeah.
right? Like that's very different for me anyway. Like I didn't, to be honest, when I've gone through preps prior because I just didn't know any different. I didn't know to support my thyroid. Like your thyroid is going to tank. Like it just,
Mm-hmm.
like things slow down, your metabolism slows, your thyroid slows down.
Yep.
Uh, cortisol climbs and progesterone tanks. And so there are ways and strategies and natural supplementation as well.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yep.
help with that.
Which I think we both do. Like I definitely support my thyroid. I,
Yep.
support my liver, my kidneys, like things like that, especially, taking PEDs, like you need to support those things. As soon as I get done with prep, I'm gonna get labs done within like 6-ish weeks after. Um, things like that. So I make sure that we do that so that I'm healthy because I've been in the spot. So have you where you just are not and you feel like absolute shit. So
I'll
yeah.
tell you this, like I'm excited to come out of a prep and know and be with a coach, but like also know myself now because I've
Yeah.
educated on it. To come out in such a better spot hormonally than I
Mhm.
ever have before because I competed 5 years nonstop doing nothing for my hormones and it
Yep.
caught up with
Same.
me.
Yep. You'll love it because that's what I did last time after I got my pro card and it was awesome. I still ended up getting adrenal PCOS, but that was just because we didn't know that Kayla needs to take deloads during prep. So otherwise, yeah. But now we know. And I'm definitely feeling much, much more confident about this post show and stuff. Like I already know like I'm gonna do a flush right afterwards so I can get my calories up right away. I'm excited for that because I get to drink the smoothie all the time. Freaking love that smoothie. And then my food will be up, so then I can kind of just slowly start to integrate into macros and like go from there. So I'm not too worried about it.
And you're gonna hit two shows kind of back to back, right? Or there's like a little break in there.
They're like 4 weeks apart. So I have some time and I've done that before. So that doesn't bother me. I'll still get like a free meal after the first show and stuff like that, which I'm like not too worried about. Which we should talk about free meals too. Because I think that's a big like misconception is that like you can just like eat free meals all the time. But
Well, and I think, especially like right now during prep, right? So like I'm 2 weeks out from this shoot, and then I think about 14 from the first NPC show that I'm gonna do. And I mean, you obviously your macros and your setup looks different than mine. Um, but right now we obviously have no free meals. Like everything is very tracked. And
yep.
I know sometimes like there is an option and coaches will throw in like, hey, eat a burger or whatever it may be. I know right now, like that's nothing like even
Nope.
close.
I haven't had a free meal for 16 weeks.
Yeah. So, and I won't either. I will say, a little bit of a strategy as we're talking about kind of free meals. Jason and I talked about after my shoot, I'll probably just bring food up a little bit. I'll still keep everything tracked and clean.
Yep.
So just to give my body a little bit of a boost so that we can dial in for 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but let's talk about free meals, post show, because I think that that's like something that people really go off the deep end on, and you really can't if you want your body to like be in an okay place.
Right. I think first, like it depends. Like, are you done with your competition season? And two, do you have another show in mind? So yes, like so in my instance, like I have another show 4 weeks later. I'm gonna be lean enough for this first show, so I'm gonna be able to have a free meal afterwards. Like,
Yep.
and typically I'll probably do like dinner and then maybe like breakfast too, and then I'll be right back on plan. Like,
Yep.
no big deal. During these free meals though, like I don't go hog wild, like because I don't want to either, like because I know how that feels too when you do, and then you just feel like so sick. But like there is something about just like during prep, like you just never ever feel full. And
Yep.
so like this free meal is like really important to get that satiation after a show, and then it kind of like mentally resets you so that you can like keep pushing for like another. I have 4 weeks in between, and like for me that's like all I need, and that's just what works for me. That's not everyone,
Yep.
not everyone can handle that and stuff. Some people get more hungry because they have like the sugars and stuff like that, and the extra fats and everything, and then their body's like, oh my gosh, like the starvation survival mode kind of kicks in.
You have to be really disciplined, because I even get that way after my high carb day. Like the next
Mhm.
day I want more food, and you have to just be disciplined. I mean, that's almost where like your why power comes in more than your willpower, because that willpower is not what's going to drive you through to not eat another free meal after having a free meal.
Yeah, it just like, and like I wasn't always like this by any means. Like I totally messed up, my first couple of years competing, and I ate way too much food, and I, binged, and I did all that stuff. So I'm not ever going to say that I was perfect and stuff. It's just it's taken me a long time to like perfect it kind of. And, it's still not perfect. Like I'm still going to end up overeating at some points, but I just kind of like, well, I kind of ate a little too much. We're just gonna like not do that again and move on. Like it's not, I can't dwell on it. I can't like, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing that people do is they try to compensate for it. And that's where it can turn into like bad habits.
Right. And I think like at this point for both of us, because we've competed a lot, like it's just not worth it. At
No.
least I'm just like, no, I want to like hit my macros 100% every single day. Yes, I do go to bed hungry nearly every single night,
Yep.
but or if it's a free meal, like it's just not worth it to me to continue on that path. Because I have learned, and I also don't want to feel like shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, I think you covered everything right there. But so what are you most excited about for getting on the NPC stage?
Okay, I think the thing that I'm most excited about is that it's just a new challenge for me. Like I said, I competed OCV and then NANBIF into IPE for so many years that like I know that whole crowd and that whole crew, and I don't know anyone in NPC. And so I think like it's just exciting, like new stage, new lights, posing is going to be tweaked a little bit. It's really a challenge. And for everyone who knows me, like I'm always up for a challenge. Like I have to have something pushing me forward, whether it's a goal in business, in my relationship, whatever it is, like I need that next challenge. So I think that that's like the biggest thing for me. And I'll tell you, this is kind of like, it's not a secret, but it a little bit is like an internal thing. When I first met Jason, I was like, do you think I can ever compete again? I've been told that I'll just never get small enough for NPC. And he was like, well, that was a bad coach. That's bullshit. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, okay. So for me, it's always been my lower body that I could never get lean enough or
Mm-hmm.
conditioned. And so that's kind of like the push, but I feel like I'm in such good hands that my coach like isn't gonna let me get on stage unless I'm ready.
Right.
And just even where I'm starting now, so I've just been in this cut for, let's see, maybe 6 going on 7 weeks. And I literally look now like almost like the week out from the last time I competed.
Mm-hmm.
And that in mind, like, I can do this. Like, if I have
Right.
14 weeks to get on stage and it's NPC, because here's the thing, and the stigma is that, oh, well, bikini girls are just small. They're just tiny. And I'm like, dude, these girls are coming in jacked. Like, what do
Bikini
you,
girls have muscle. Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
I feel good because I feel like I've gained so much muscle. It's just a matter of getting my body fat low enough.
Mm-hmm. And you will, like, there's no doubt about it. Like, Jason will get you conditioned. Like, he's known for that. Like, I getting conditioned was like the least of my worries this year for prep. So, because I've been there and I've gotten it and not too worried about that. It's like,
Exciting. And I think for me too, Kayla, like, my cardio looks so different than what it has in the past. Like, I
mm-hmm.
used to quote unquote hit, which was not real hit because, like, we know what that is. But I used to do quote unquote hit for 45 minutes of that, like, there was like 20 seconds hard on the Stairmaster, 60 seconds off type thing, 20 seconds hard, 60 seconds off. And I was doing that 7 days a week, sometimes double days, like, you know what I mean? Like morning and night. And now looking back, I realized like that wasn't the strategy. Again, I didn't know any different. And I think there's other people out there who are still doing it. And listen, that might work for you, but it does not work for my body. And so, like, I'm excited about that part too, and working with a coach, because Jason and I've only worked in an off season together.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is our first like push together. And so I'm just so excited to bring a package that I know I've never brought to stage.
Yeah, I think that's the most exciting thing. And that's like one thing that's really awesome about bodybuilding is like, if you do this all right, like you're going to improve. Like, and that's like the whole basis of bodybuilding, right? Is building a physique that you're proud of. And like, that's the art of it. And that's what is so exciting and addicting in this sport. Like, yes, this like prep is hard, prep sucks, but like every single time I prep, I find a new level of like myself that I'm like, I didn't know was there. And like my physique, like I was telling you, like before we hit record today, I was like, sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, I did that. I was like, I look like that. Like that's freaking nuts. Like, and that's where like prep goggles come in, and you're just like, I'm not lean enough. I'm not gonna be big enough. I'm not gonna make it in time. Like, no matter how many times you go through prep, it's still gonna cross your mind. And so,
Yeah.
as much as you can possibly, just be confident in yourself and like your capabilities. And as long as you put in the work and you do everything possible in your power to bring your best, the rest of us is out of your hands. And I had to have that reminder to myself too this year. Last week I kind of like hit my little like wall where I was like having a little self-doubt, and
There's
then
always a few of those for prep.
got my head pulled out of my ass. So that was nice. We're back on track now.
Okay, good.
So yeah, because my pro debut, I'm like, I'm someone who's very like hard on themselves, and I have high expectations of myself, and I want to do well. I really want to show up. I really want to make a statement, because I am small. I'm probably going to be the smallest one on stage still, no matter what. And I put on 10 pounds of muscle this off season. So that tells you anything, but it's all about the proportion, and it's about your shape and your density and stuff like that. It's not about who's the biggest on stage.
That's such a good point, because even for bikini, like I think of that too. So I'm 5'5". I'm not the tallest, but I'm definitely not the shortest, because well, there's a lot of like, I think of it, Kayla, like I always look, I'm like, I'm never gonna be that small. Well, one, I'm never gonna be 5 foot because I'm not 5 foot. So I don't need to be comparing my body and symmetry to somebody who is 5 foot. Like
Right.
I'm 5'5", and I need to come in as my best package
Mm-hmm.
for me and what those proportions look like. And for bikini, I need to have rocked shoulders and a butt.
Yep.
And I will. And I'm not worried about my abs. I will say that my abs have never been a problem for me. Those always
Oh,
come
lucky.
in.
I
My,
like I had to work on abs this summer and like this off season, and still, because I just like I don't have like blocky abs. Like they don't like stick out, so I like had to like really work on that. And like it's hard.
Yeah.
So
It's still a muscle you have to build.
mhm. Yep. Yep. And I had to do that. And I hate doing abs. So
Yeah. I know. No, but I'm excited that we have a date because I wasn't sure. But it also is kind of nice to know like I'm in just such a good mindset and mental place that like even if my coach had said we have to wait till spring, I'd be cool with that.
yep. I mean, all in all, like when, we think about competing, like, yes, it's fun to get on stage. It's fun to prep. It's fun to get lean, see yourself at that state. But look at what your goal is. And if like, you want to win, if you want to get a pro card, if you want to, make a
Yeah.
significant changes, like you can't be prepping all the time because your body needs to be able to like marinate. That's what I like to call it in an off season in order to grow. And especially if you're natural, you need to do that for a longer period of time because when you have like PEDs involved, it helps, yes. But when you're natural, you need to have more recovery time and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, it's so true.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, so December 2nd we'll be making my NPC debut.
Ooh. And then my show, I'm planning on doing the San Antonio Pro September 23rd. And then my second show will be the Hurricane Pro October 21st. So
And then is that a wrap for the season? Is that how that works?
yeah, I'll probably be done. I just wanted to do the two just to see where I'm at. Get some feedback, get on stage again, get compared to the other girls, go from there. And after that, I really don't know what's gonna happen. So
Okay,
we
cool.
just gotta kind of see. Whole
I'm
new
also
ball game.
I'm excited to get judges' feedback too from a different organization. So
Mhm.
when you compete, and you know this too, even NPC, like judges will know you. So it's
Yes.
not no different than, OCB, IPE, where I was competing prior in those leagues, like all the judges knew me. So like
Mhm.
I'm kind of excited to bring like to come to a new stage with a whole new experience. Feedback's not always the easiest to receive, but like I'm excited to hear from a different set of people,
Yep.
where I'm at, what they want to see, and what
Yep.
that looks
Because I really do think that the standards are much different. Because I've had I do have a couple clients that are like OCB, and then I have clients that are in the NPC.
like.
And the feedback that I got, because I'm so used to NPC, I was like, whoa, when like my OCB client competed, I was like, huh, all right, I figured she would have placed better because she was like the leanest on stage. But like the girl that won was like, look, like she was 12 weeks out. And I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's hard.
So I was like, did this girl even do cardio? I was like,
I
but
mean,
anyways, yeah, we won't get into that. But I was just like, it's just funny, like to hear the difference in like the expectations and the standards and how they judge it. So, and that's why bodybuilding is such a subjective sport.
but it's constantly changing too. So
Mhm.
like you really need to be in the know and listen to what judges are saying and what's happening out there in whatever organization you're competing in, because it is constantly changing. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't not the same as it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, obviously not 10 years ago. But it's
Mhm.
like that, like, and it's I like see it. Obviously, I follow everything bikini, but like you see it so often, and I'm sure you see it in figure too, where you're like, wait, I thought that person was gonna win, and then there was like a posing tweak that needed to happen, or whatever it may be. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, though, I think bikini is probably the hardest to judge.
Yeah.
So that one's tough, but I mean figure's not as bad, but yeah, I totally get that too. Like even when I turned pro, like there was a couple, shows where I was a little confused by the judging and stuff like that. And like lots of other people were because I got lots of messages and I was like, I'm not a judge. Like, I'm glad you think that way, but I'm not the judge. So sorry. But yeah, it was just interesting how the turnout happens and what they're looking for that day. It could just be, how you show up compared to everyone else. And like that's why you can never compare because everyone one always posts their best pictures on social media. Two, like you don't know if they're going to peak correctly, if you're going to peak correctly, so you can only worry about yourself. So why put so much effort into worrying about other people and worrying about everyone else when you can just worry about yourself?
And I that's growth, right? Because I will say, even going on to like a new stage and organization, I'm excited about it because I have high expectations for myself always. Like, I'm not going to show up not looking better than my last package, but my expectations are a little different because I haven't competed NPC. And so I think it actually takes a little bit of the stress away from me, because when I was competing pro and also running my body into the ground and not coming back more competitive each time, like, it was really disappointing. And so, like, I just am in a different mindset to not be set up for that disappointment now, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. Cause like going into my first show ever, I was just like, I'm just here to have fun. Like, I don't know what to expect. And then like going into like last season to get my pro card, I was like, I need to get this pro card. Like, this is
Yeah.
like live or die. Like in my mind, that's what it was. Is I was like, and I did 4 shows that year because I was so close. Like I came in second place, second place, second place, like first 3 shows. And so it was like, well, Kayla, do we keep pushing for this 4th show to into USA's and just try for it? Because I'm so close, and I'm glad I did because I won. So, you know, it paid off, but it could not have too, you know, but I didn't want to leave myself with just like the what if, you know, and my body was still responding. I was eating plenty of food. We had started to reverse diet up, you know, things like that. So I was comfortable doing it. And I also knew the repercussions too that I was, you know, risking with
Right.
staying into prep 7 months out of the year. So yeah, I was like stage lean for like 4 months
Oh my gosh.
because we cut into my first show for like 12 weeks. We did like a 12-week prep into my first show. After that 12 weeks, we like started to reverse up, and I just got leaner. And it was like, it was nuts. So yeah,
Amazing when that happens.
literally, I was eating like 1,700 calories and I was like lean and full. And I was like, am I even in prep anymore? I was like, Jason, is this okay? Like, is this supposed to happen? He's like, yes, Gail, it's fine. And like, I felt great. I was still really tired though, because I was really like super lean, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just like the slingshot effect really, really worked. And so I'm assuming that after this first show, we'll bring calories back up again. We'll kind of do the same tactic,
Yeah.
because that's what worked last time, but not everything works the same every time. So
That's, I know.
we'll just
That's,
have to see.
the body is a miraculous, interesting thing for sure.
So,
Cool.
but I guess like, do we have anything else on that topic on prep? Like, did we cover everything?
I think so. I'm sure more things will come up over the next few weeks. Um,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, we'll
know,
keep you guys updated and stuff. And, you know, maybe when I go into peak week and stuff, we'll go through like, we'll do an episode on like what I did for peak week kind of thing. Show recap or something like that. Maybe we can do a short one on that to keep you guys updated.
yeah, don't worry. We'll definitely recap my first NPC experience.
We're gonna definitely recap Jane's first NPC experience. That's gonna be so much fun.
I know. Cool.
So, and then we do have a guest coming on here soon to talk about her post show, reverse or like lack thereof, basically, and how so my friend Amanda has been reversing herself this last prep, and she's been very open about it, and it's just really cool what she's doing. And so I think it was a really cool perspective to listen to, and for her to share her story with it. So she's going to come on here in 2 weeks, I think it is, and talk to us about that and just like what she's been doing and how it's been going for her. So
Awesome. And I'm excited for her to come on because I think she's going to shed some light and probably provide some comfort for
yeah,
those who
definitely.
are who get stuck in that reverse cycle. Because I
And
feel
people who
like
are struggling too, you know,
it's
that
like
she,
the feast famine, right? You go
yes.
feast, you starve yourself, and she's not doing that, and she's keeping her calories high. And I'm following her story on Instagram. So it'll be nice to get that out, but she's being responsible about it.
Yeah, she's not like, and that's like where the difference is like I've been there too, where post show I didn't even know what a reverse diet was, and I just like ate, and that was I went on a cruise the next day after my first show, and that was like the worst idea ever.
I went to my bachelorette party for an entire week because that was smart. I came back looking awful.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. And so that's why I wanted to get her on, because I think she has a very good insight to it and a reason why she's doing it. And just like the tactic and strategy that she's going at with it is like really, really good and could be useful in the future for some people. So yeah.
Cool. Can't wait. All
But
right.
Alrighty, but we are gonna wrap it up here and we will be back again soon and we will talk to you guys later. So thanks for listening. Bye.